I mean, that's on every. I mean, it was a good card.
It was a good card. I just hit start streaming. Let me make sure the thumbnail's up though. Yeah, looks like it. Okay, yeah. So UFC 314 recap show. We got a bye week, so we're gonna touch on UFC Kansas City just to get ahead of things. And then got a few topics on the top of my head. Not really super fight related, but the media space. So we'll get into all of this. But
I'm kind of glad we have a week off. Like I need a break sometimes.
yeah, it's been going heavy,
It is.
and it's a lot to cover,
It
a lot
is.
of content to cover, a lot of fighters to interview. For me too, because it gives
I
me a
bet.
chance to get stuff like out. You feel me?
I bet. I
So
bet.
I like a couple bye weeks here and there
Yeah, yeah.
for sure.
UFC 314, Volkanovski gets his belt back.
Yeah,
I
Volk
thought it
got his
was,
belt back.
I thought it was an epic fight, bro.
It was a good fight. I did a live stream. You did a watch party, right?
hmm
So what was
hmm
the live reaction there on the watch party?
I think everybody was they were going into the fifth saying Volk was up four. I thought it was a little bit more even than that. But I did think after reviewing it, I was worried that Volk wasn't going to be able to take a punch, and he stood in the pocket.
Yeah, he did for sure.
Stood in the pocket. He took some punches. He gave back some punches, and he he was able to show that, hey, I could still do this. I actually am now more excited for him.
Yeah,
Those two bad, I mean, just horrible losses, and shows Diego, hey, there's another level to this as well, and that Volk still got a little bit more in the tank. Still got a little bit more in the tank, and I'd like to see him, kind of leave on a high note.
mm-hmm.
Don't
Yeah, for
just
sure.
don't face Ilia or Islam again.
It's crazy. That top three, how it was Ilia, Max, and Volk. Those guys are really just way separate from everyone else in that division.
hmm
I mean, the only other guy coming up right now who I can even think will give Volk problems is a Gene Silva, and that's only because it's like the unquestionable factor. Like we just haven't seen him tested.
Right. Right.
But
Now,
you're talking about,
Laurent,
to be honest with you, skill wise, it might be a
Mozart.
decent. Well, Movistar's the one.
Yeah.
Movistar's the one. Let's be honest.
hmm hmm
I think he's been overlooked quite a bit, a little bit like Onk, big Onk. So give him the shot. Honestly, give him
Oh
the
yeah,
shot.
you got to give it to him.
Because here's actually to my point. Volk is so ahead of the competition, as you just saw with Lopes.
hmm
You know what I'm saying?
I don't think he wasn't like it was a pretty even fight, but he did beat him.
So okay, so two things. What you
Okay.
said about everybody saying he was at 4-1 going into it, or
Mhm.
4-0 going into it. I mean, a little bit. Other than that one round where he got dropped, you know what I mean?
That was the third. That was the fourth
And
round.
you could give that to Diego. So I
So
had
could
it like 3-1.
so I see, and I could have had it 2-2 because there was a couple instances even in that second round
Mhm.
where Diego cut Volk.
He did cut Volk.
He was cut with both eyes.
Right.
And I thought he was doing a little bit more damage, but when you looked at the strike count, I was like, "Oh, Volk is up on strike count." So I was trying to put it all in, and at just live, I was like, "It got to be 2-2." I was convinced it was 2-2, bro.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
you couldn't tell me any, especially after that fourth round.
hmm
But then I did think that Volk was applying more pressure in the fifth.
Yeah. I think for me throughout that fight, the thing with Diego is that he was having moments. There would be a time where he bites down on his mouthpiece, right? And he throws for a few shots and lands. But if you
Yeah.
take that in the collectiveness of the round, it's only like less than a minute. And I think that's where he was falling into this weakness. You know what I mean? It's like, again, like the example they were saying, right? A shark swimming or, swimming in shark infested waters. I think that like there was just this pace where he couldn't exactly get to. And I don't think a lot of guys can with Volk.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think,
he brings that like Marab intensity where he just keeps going, keeps going, keeps going.
yeah.
I would say this about Diego. I think he stuffed almost every takedown.
Yeah, he did stuff a lot of the takedowns for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And It was like, to me, it was like they were just right there and Volk just edged them.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was a classic fight. I thought that was one for the books right there. Like there was a war. They were going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like it wasn't a boring fight at all. Every single round that was entertaining.
Yeah, it was well, you know, and then at the end of the fight, right, you had Volk dropping him, right? That was probably one of the bigger moments that stood out to me is like Volk dropped him, and then you saw Diego really going for it, you know, throughout for the whole pace of it. But
Yeah.
Volk was piecing him up badly, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, it
good
was
fight
catching
for sure, but
and jabbing him.
jabbing him. But
Yeah.
I'm kind of conflicted because I don't want to call it a good. Actually, because even though I just finished my last sentence saying like good fight for sure, that's probably like a habit or something like that.
Okay.
I don't want to. I don't want to like say it was like the best fight because I feel like the problem was Volk's end where he was jabbing a lot, and I feel like I just want to point that out. Like Volk was fighting behind the jab a lot, and you know,
Let me ask you this.
Diego made the fight more exciting.
Let's take all the main fight cards. You had Islam versus Moicano.
Mm-hmm.
DDP versus, was it better than DDP versus Sean?
No.
Really? See, I would say yes.
Well,
Was it better?
DDP was so long ago. Let me think about that.
That was in February in Australia. Like Sean didn't
Okay,
show.
no, you know what? I was thinking about Sean DDP number 1. Because that was a really close fight. I thought it was one of the fights of the year almost. But DDP Sean 2, it wasn't as good as the first one. So okay, fair enough. It was close.
It was close. Magomed versus Alex Piera.
I was more tapped into that one, I think. But
You thought it was more entertaining?
I was just, well, you know, it was bigger magnitude. Let's be real. You know, Pereira versus a Volk. So yeah, I was tapped into that one. I wanted Pereira to win. So
Interesting. I wasn't even excited about this fight.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it lived up to it. Gave me my money's worth. That's what I thought.
Okay, fair enough.
Like these guys went at it. There was nobody, just like, when we see those guys that just like drag someone down and hold them there, like, all right, you won the round.
Mm-hmm.
There was none of that.
Yeah, I think Movsar will be a better opponent though for Volk because I think Volk needs to be tested a little bit more.
Well, all right. Okay. He just was knocked out twice. He's been tested.
No, not in that case, but like with his level of here. This is my point, and I feel like okay, I'm going in circles a little bit, but because you don't, maybe it's because you don't fully agree, which is fine. But let me just settle on this thought. I think the level of competition, right, is not very. There's a few guys, right. If Alex fights anybody but Movsar and I guess Gene Silva, or like a Lerone, nobody else can hang with him. It's like you're gonna get the same thing with Diego every time, like a leap in competition. Like they're not even like it's not even like 9 level versus 10 level. Like Volk's like a 10 level, and Diego's like a 7. And like Brandon, or what's his name, the Arnold Allen, he's like a 7-8. Yair Rodriguez, he's like a 7.
And
so I'm saying like they're like points. There's gaps. Movsar, that's like a 9 level fighter and a 10 level fighter. So make sure that Volk's getting these good matchups because Yair's calling for that shot. And I don't think it's warranted. We saw that. It was very dominant, and we're going to keep seeing that. We've seen that Volk is very good. So just make sure he has good competition.
Yeah. I would say, you look at everybody that's there, Mozart is the next one. This is what I would say. I wish Diego, what kind of did irritate me about Diego is where are the leg kicks? That's what I like DDP. DDP throws you a little bit of everything. I like Bilal too for that reason. They throw you a little bit of everything. I didn't feel like he did enough leg kicks, body kicks. He didn't try to take him down. There was, it was just one aspect of the game. I enjoyed it just as a spectator, as a consumer, as a fan, because I don't want to see a boring fight. I want to see an action fight. That they sold me on that. When it comes to like all what you're talking about the whole MMA as a, as an athlete and what you bring into the table. I see what you're saying for sure.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So with the matchups, I kind of got it broken down. Let me know what you think if you've considered it. I didn't give you a warning on this one, but I broke it down in my head already. I made a post, so I might as well just say what I think should happen. I already kind of said that first matchup, right? I said Volk needs to fight Movsar.
Yeah, I think a lot of people agree with that. Yeah.
Right. I think Yair and Diego.
Yeah, you have to set that up. You have to line that up.
It's another unanimous. It's an easy one.
Yeah, storyline is right there.
Right. And then I think you do like Gene Silva versus like a Lerone.
I was thinking Lerone, and there was somebody else.
And how funny is that? That people were saying right before this, when I said that Lerone should have called out Gene Silva or Volk, right? People saying, "Oh, Gene Silva's not ranked." Right. Da 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 da. So everybody, make sure to comment that you're sorry. All right, if you're the ones, somebody who hated on what I had to say, because like I said, bro, this is something that a little bit annoys me, and I'll keep it gentle on here. But it's like sometimes these fans, bro, they don't even know what they want because they don't even have the ability, right? And I cover the sport, so it's, you know, it's expected on my end, but they don't have the ability to like look 2 steps ahead. They're so focused on like Gene Silva's not ranked versus thinking, well, where will he be with the knockout over Bryce Mitchell with the magnitude of this fight? You know what I'm saying? And then you see what just happened with Lerone. There was absolutely no magnitude to that. He didn't even look in the camera in his post-fight interview. So fans, like, I am like 2 steps ahead of you. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and I would say this. I saw someone say, give Gene Silva Bryce Mitchell. And at first I was like, yeah, that's a good matchup. It's a good test. But then when I thought about it, I was like, nah, don't give him the loser of that fight. Give him the winner of the fight.
Yeah, give Gene
But
Silva.
I don't think Lerone wants to fight down, though.
And that's where we're going to run into a problem. That's where we are going to run into a problem.
I think he thinks that
he's going to go top 5.
Yeah, he wants a better level of competition, and that hurts him.
Let me say this then. Let me say this in response. I'm glad you said that because that's a fair point, and I agree with you. So let me say this in response. Lerone's got the same problem these fans have.
All right.
He's so fixated on like this ranking that he can't even like see past the forest, right? And be like, oh shit, a win over Gene Silva gets me a guaranteed title shot over anybody in the top 5.
And look what Ian Gary's doing right now, fighting down against Carlos Praetis. They're in the both same camp, and he's taking a chance. And he's ranked higher than Lerone is, I believe. But they're in almost the same scenario.
He's coming off a number 1 contender fight. He was, so he's like number 2, 3.
Right.
Right, and Lerone's like number 8.
Yeah.
But Ian's not ranked number 2, 3. Ian in the real rankings is way below.
7.
Yeah, he's like 7, 8. Yeah, so I guess
so
they're in the same.
Yeah, they're around the same. But I guess too, like, we're not putting words in Lerone's mouth. I mean, I think that he thinks he wants to fight up, though. I'm just throwing it out.
You are correct, and Lerone will not disagree with you. He said it 5 or 6 times now. In fact, he thinks he's even going to get a title fight.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. He's not ready for that. I don't think he beats Gene Silva.
Yeah, him and Gene Silva got to run it. So I'm not going to.
That's a good fight.
It's a good fight. And then the last one I got for you.
Here's the thing too. Then who does Aljo fight?
Well,
because I thought Aljo versus Gene would be good too.
So here's the last one I got for you.
Okay.
Aljo versus Arnold Allen.
Okay, I agree with that too.
Yeah. Aljo versus Arnold Allen. You know, Arnold Allen. Here to my point. Right, I always keep it consistent. You cannot tell me I don't. So Arnold Allen, he brings the fight. Right. He does not fight backing up. You cannot talk about him and Lerone as the same type of excitement level that they bring to the octagon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I think I said last week, does Lerone deserve a Aljo? Personally, I don't think so. You think so, which is fine. We're all entitled. But I think a guy like Arnold, Aljo will say yes to because he's willing to risk it against a guy who will fight him. There's a chance that now when you fight Lerone, he's going to do that step back approach and be like, well, you want me to press Aljo, he'll take me down. Just like he did with Josh Emmett, where he said, you want me to press Josh Emmett, he'll knock me out. So now we know what'll happen with Lerone. Will Arnold say, you want me to press Aljo, he'll take me down? He won't say that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think, Aljo, Arnold.
Then what about this? Then Youssef versus Josh Emmett.
Youssef versus Josh Emmett. Yeah, I think we have a good opponent for Youssef last week
Last time I said give him Lerone.
You did, because they're both boring, and I kind of love that idea.
Yeah.
I really kind of love that idea.
But this Youssef versus Josh, I think that it's okay. That's very similar. It's almost like watching Lerone versus Youssef.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like watching Josh Emmett and Lerone all over again
Right.
because they're that same style. But I think Youssef's more dynamic than Lerone.
Yeah.
If I would pick one, I'd pick Youssef over Lerone. And I like him when he gets on the mic. Like he'll say something. He'll say something.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen somebody just say, you guys think Ilia would have KO'd Volk last Saturday? Respect to Volk, but of course, brother. Volk got dropped by Diego, so what do you think was going to happen again with Ilia? I think that's been proven already. There's no asterisk anymore with that win because of what Ilia did to Max on a full camp. So I was the biggest hater on Ilia, right? So I got to give him that full credit now.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
The Volk and Max wins certified.
Yeah.
Asterisk removed. Parry Punch Commission, we looked it over. We revoked that. What were we just talking about, though? You just froze up on me.
Parry Punch Commission.
Hey, you just froze up. Where you at? I hear you, but I don't. Yeah, he's a bad matchup. Hey, Gabriel, should we get a Volk versus Movsar next? Volk versus Lerone next? Or Volk versus shit, I think that's the only two. Or Volk versus Gene. Let me know what you think. Where are you at, MTK? You're like frozen on the screen. All right, we got MTK rejoining and coming back. So let me go into another topic for you. Let's see what Gabe says. All right, Gabe, it's just me and you right now. Movsar deserves it in my opinion. Yeah, for sure. He's in the same position Big Onk was in. You know what I mean? Give him the shot. Volk is levels ahead of everyone else. All right, MTK is coming back. Wait a sec. Hey, we got some hot topics coming up, boys. So just stay tuned for that. I promise. We got some good ones. Let me see here. The co-main. We're going to move on to the co-main now. Co-main was... Yo, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, let me kick this other guy out of here.
Oh, that was me. That's me on my phone.
All right, so let me kick this other guy out of here.
That's on my trap phone.
All right, we got MTK back. He's off the trap phone. I was holding it down. Gabe says Movsar deserves it as well. What was the co-main event? Was that Patty Chandler? I'm like,
oh, bro, Patty? Woo!
That was the co-main, right?
That was the co-main. He fucked Chandler up.
He fucked him up bad, bro.
Him up, bro. Fucked him up. Like, I'm so glad that, like, you know what? And I like Michael. I don't like his fucking dirty antics. I don't like he's delusional.
He kicked him in the nuts again. He made sure to get at least one foul in.
Yeah, but Patty manhandled him, bro.
Yeah, Patty did great. I thought Patty was the lock of the night.
Yeah.
I think you could have put your house on Patty. Lock of the night.
I think Connor lost 250.
Yeah, so I want to say this. Actually, glad you brought up Connor, right?
Yeah.
Really, we all know what happened, right? Patty dominated Chandler. Say what you want that he's fighting old guys. This is how it goes. The lightweight division is infested with old guys. You got like 3 more right above him. You got Justin Gaethje, you got Dustin Poirier, and you got fucking, who's the third one?
Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier. Dan Hooker? No, he's...
Whatever. You got Gaethje and Poirier.
Yeah.
So
Charles Oliveira is kind of up there.
Oliveira is one of them. So with that said, he's eventually going to get to the top competition. And, I'm down to see that Islam fight in the future. I hope he can get it, honestly. That's good promo.
Mm-hmm.
What I really want to talk about is this. McGregor bet against Patty, like you just said, lost like 250.
Yeah.
So, you know, Conor said before the fight that he was looking forward to it. He's intrigued. I've been telling Conor, I've been like trolling him in his comment section, telling him, Conor, if Patty wins, are you coming back to fight him? Because there can only be one Highlander. And now Patty won. He's now the Highlander, the king of the North.
Okay, got you.
So Conor's got to come back and regain his throne because right now, Patty is the new Highlander. And that's why, in my opinion, if you're wondering why Conor's picking against Patty, why he's like interested in the fight, because of exactly what I just said. Patty is now the king of the North, and he knew that would happen if he won. So, Conor, that's your comeback. I got your storyline, but it's only good for so long.
Right.
And do I think he's ready to come back? No. But that would have been it. There can only be one.
Yeah, true. And I'll just kind of on the fight, I was thinking about it. Chandler actually took Patty down, but Patty was able to get back up pretty easily. And so once they went into that third round and he kneed him, and then he kept karate kicked him, like how Lyoto Machado would do, like karate kick.
Yeah.
It still was going after him, running Chandler down. Like, I love that killer instinct. I love that killer instinct.
The jab from Patty, amazing in the fight. I heard them talking about it afterwards. He's been working on the jab. Obviously, it's easier to jab a shorter, stockier guy like Chandler. I mean, it's just right there. You know what I mean? And Chandler should have done a lot better with his boxing than to just keep walking into that jab. You know, you should have answers for that because you've been the short guy in the majority of your fights. But the jab for Patty, very good. Patty's got like an A+ performance. You know what I mean? What can I say?
Yeah.
Da 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 da. You know the dance?
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. I mean, it's an A+ performance. It's everything I ask you for. He calls several people out with conviction. I mean, shit. I give Patty's
and get your
interview like a 10.
Give
if
your
I
boy
gave Lerone a 1.
Go grab your boy Kobe though.
It's all part of that soap opera.
This dude's behind the. He's not even fighting him, bro. Like, he's not even gonna be fighting Patty.
No, but
like,
there's backstory to that. There's lore.
Okay, what is it?
The lore is that because when they just crossed paths at Power Slap, see, okay, you might have to like give Colby a little slack here after I tell you what I tell you.
Okay.
So they crossed paths at Power Slap, and Colby didn't say shit to Patty, and Patty went on like podcasts throughout Fight Week, saying I just crossed paths with Colby, and he put his head down. He didn't say shit. He's not about that life. So now, so what's Colby supposed to do? I think that was Colby's get back.
Got you. Okay.
Because he didn't say shit when they crossed paths like a week and a half ago.
I don't know. I think Patty fucks Kobe up too.
Hey, I'm not saying he doesn't. But
who's next for Patty then?
Let me think here. Who's next for Patty? Great question. I think so. He said Armand, right? The helmet and the sausage.
He kind of was like, "Fuck him. I'd rather fight Charles."
Right. He said Charles, and then he had a third name, didn't he?
No, I think at Ilia.
Who else is up there?
It's Armin, Charles, Justin, Max, Dustin, Dan, Gamrot.
Okay, I think he did mention Justin, but for some reason he wasn't that interested in Justin because he did settle on Charles, right? Yeah, I mean, Patty versus Charles is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, first Armin's pretty good too.
Armin's good too. Honestly, though, Ilia versus Patty. There's a lot to this stuff, though, because you got Ilia now on Joe's podcast saying, I won't even fucking fight. If Islam doesn't want to fight me, I'll just wait. Like, I'll just sit out indefinitely till I get that fight because I got it, guaranteed. So if he's not going to fight anybody but Islam, Patty versus Ilia can't happen.
They don't even have Ilia ranked on the division.
But again, I'm not too worried about it because we all know the respect on his name. He just beat Max. Where's Max ranked?
He is number 5.
So Ilia is at least number 5.
Yeah.
And I love Max Holloway.
Yeah, me too.
But, you know, we got to keep it a buck. We got to keep it fair.
This is what I fear for a lot of fighters. You do this type of thing and you get just passed up by other contenders who are staying more busier and putting themselves in more opportunities to fight. So
I don't think Ilia though, personally. I hear your point, and that does happen to some guys. But a guy like Ilia is $1 million fighter. He doesn't come around every year. Like, he could sit out for a year and a half. He's like a Nate Diaz.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right.
Yeah.
I respect. I mean, I respect him for sure. I mean,
but guys like Shavkat,
I just want to
guys like
fight.
Movsar,
right?
Guys like Big Onk, you can't sit on your ranking like that because at the times they weren't proven. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But Ilia, he's certified.
But imagine this happens. Imagine JDM beats Bilal, and Islam says, "Now I want to go fight JDM."
Yeah, so that's the conversation.
Then what happens with Ilia?
I guess my
answer.
Go
fight Armin, or you have to go fight whoever the interim belt.
Right. I guess my answer would be it's time to wake up.
Right. Yeah.
Because I don't see a world where JDM is beating Bilal.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what we're about to find out.
Yeah. I'd say you're dreaming if you think that's gonna happen. But I hear that narrative all the time.
All right.
I hear that narrative a lot. All right. But then, hey, that's where Joaquin comes into play, and that's what I told him in the last interview. I was like, hey, you are Islam's saving grace at title shot because he doesn't want to fight the homie Islam, and you're the only guy, or sorry, Bilal, and you're the only guy kind of to dethrone Bilal because I don't think JDM can. And he didn't want to talk about it because he wanted to keep it on a down low. But I've been seeing this for a while now.
I like that Joaquin cobbed out Shavkat too.
Right. But he didn't post the live. If he would have posted the live, I could have like reposted it too. But for some reason, I didn't see the live. I just saw other accounts posting it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Did
like
you see the live?
I don't think so. No.
I don't know how he called him out.
Yeah. I think it was like something I read or something.
Usman, a little bit of a disgrace right now, man.
I mean, there's like 5 guys we could say that are in that same boat.
What do you mean?
That are Usman, Kobe, Dominic.
But Kobe just fought.
That's true. I'll give him some credit for there. Dustin. I mean, not Dustin, but Dominic.
Who's
Cruz.
Dominic?
Dominic Cruz.
I think he retired.
Okay, so good.
Yeah.
So Kamaru for sure.
Kamaru for sure.
Yeah, he's on that list. Let's see if there's anybody else I could call out.
The guys who are just not fighting and sitting on their ranking. Like you gotta risk that, bro. And if not, shit. Then yeah, give Joaquin Shavkat.
Yeah.
Usman's probably the only one sitting on that damn ranking, bro. I can't think of one. Yeah,
you're right. You're right.
He's probably the only one. And to answer your question earlier about the whole Bilal thing, if he were to move up, if JDM were to lose and all this shit, then I think you do Ilia versus Paddy for the interim lightweight championship. I think that's written in the stars.
No, you say that one more time.
If JDM in Fairyland knocks out Bilal, and then Islam moves up to fight JDM, then I think it's written in the stars, Ilia Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett for the interim lightweight championship.
But then who does Armin fight?
Brody, Armin is like that guy you just talked about, who fucking loses his spot. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the guy right there. Paddy, he's $1 million fighter. Ilia, $1 million fighter. Arman got his chance, and the UFC said that he could fight. Right? Did
they said that?
They said that. They said that he was able to fight. The UFC doctor went and checked on him, and they said, you can fight. And he said, no, but I don't want to.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
On top of that, even if he didn't do that, who's a bigger star, Paddy or Arman?
Paddy's becoming a big star. He is a star.
Paddy's the star.
Yeah. All right.
For sure. So
they were going back.
Paddy written in the stars, but again, I don't see that happening because JDM knocking out Bilal is crazy. Watch me have to come back though and be like, oh my god, JDM knocked out Bilal. But I'm just saying how I see it right now.
How many people has JDM knocked out?
He couldn't even knock, bro.
He's not like some knockout specialist.
JDM is very suspect. I've kind of talked about this before. Tell me if I'm repeating myself. Well, we got new viewers probably, but JDM decisioned Kevin Holland. He decisioned that guy Basil Hafez. He was losing to Gilbert Burns until he knocked him out. It's just like, I don't see where the certified is with JDM. I just, like, call me a hater. And people also call him, like, undefeated and shit like that. He's not undefeated, bro. He's lost before. He is undefeated in the UFC. But, like, I don't know why you guys are calling him undefeated. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. No, I mean, he beat Randy Brown in a submission.
That was a decent win. Not even a knockout, though.
Yeah. I mean, this is the biggest test. This is the biggest test of his career, that's for sure.
Yeah, so I don't think he's knocking out Bilal.
Yeah, all these guys getting to a point where like it's all top level competition.
Mm-hmm.
So,
are we gonna get into it? I think it was Bryce Mitchell, Gene Silva.
Oh, bro, he just totally toyed with him.
He did.
He just did, bro. He big broed him.
It was like kind of bad.
The whole fight, I kind of just had that feeling of like he just knew he was better. And did you see that clip that they replayed when he pointed to Rufy?
I recently saw it scrolling past on the timeline. Yeah.
I was like thinking it's like almost like when you're with your boys and like I don't know. I think I used this reference before. Like you could be playing basketball or something, and you're playing with like one of your homies' little brothers and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And the little homies like putting a couple points up on you, and you point to like, bro, and then you like drain a three.
Yeah.
Like it was almost like that, bro. When he pointed to Rufy and he did the spinning back kick and he got him, like dog, like see I could do it too.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't the only one.
Yeah.
Like that. I didn't notice that until after the fact. And then the way he got him, though, like that was such a clean move to have the wherewithal to like not even it wasn't even about a stand-up game. Took him down on that choke and just got him.
Yeah, he's good.
Right, just gave up.
All around. Good all around. And Bryce Mitchell, I saw Brandon Schaub saying that Bryce Mitchell, in hindsight, like, he's like, you can't tell me that's the number 12 ranked guy in the world if you're just like a casual fan who doesn't know anything about the sport. If I were to show you that fight and be like, yeah, that guy Bryce, that's the number 12 guy in the world. You couldn't convince somebody that. I feel like that speaks to how good Gene Silva is, though. I don't want to take away so much credit from Bryce in that sense because that also takes away from Gene. Maybe Gene is just world championship level because I think the champ does that to the number 12 guy. I think Volk destroys Bryce Mitchell, right? To some degree. So I think you got to give Gene his credit and be careful when you say like, not you, but Brendan Schaub in this case, saying like, yeah, Bryce Mitchell really sucks, kind of. It's like, no, I think Gene might just be that good.
And what's crazy though with Bryce Mitchell is that the level of competition he's fought before this, he hasn't fought scrubs.
He fought guys like Ilia, Josh Emmett.
He's fought top level
Dan Egan.
Right. He's fought some of the best. And you're right. Gene Silva made it look easy. And I almost was like kind of scared for Gene Silva. Like, bro, he may be don't play around. You know what I mean? But he just was like, you could just tell he was just filling them out. And
the density too, in like their shots, it's a world of difference. They're the same weight class, but like Bryce, when he hit him, it was like not much. There was not much on it. It was like just a bunch of like light shots. Gene, it was just like these dense, like big shots.
And it was almost like too, like, you know, when just like another reference, like when you look at somebody like, hey, what do you want me to do? You want me to give him what you want me to punch him in the face? You want me to spin kick him? Do you want me to get him in the you want me to give him a leg punch? What do you want me to do? I'll do it. Hold on. Like he was putting on a show, and in his mind he's thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead. Like the game slowed down for him almost.
Yeah.
Like he's in there almost like Anderson Silva, like looking at it like, all right, I see those punches coming already.
Mm-hmm. And so when you get a big win over the 12th ranked guy like that as an unranked contender, you know, you don't get that slow build anymore. You know what I mean? So you're gonna get shot up there, and Lerone, he might try to sit on his ranking, but here, let me make an argument right now. Right? Let me say this, because these guys, they always want.
How many more times do you think Silva should fight in this year? You think he should fight 2 more times, or one more time? I think
Silva. First off, I'll say this. Maybe it's recency bias, but right now, as I'm speaking to you, I think that if Movsar can't make that fight, you give Silva that fight. Uh, let me look at Lerone, right? So Lerone fought.
And who would argue that? Yair would argue that, right? Yair would say, "No, I deserve that shot, not
Mm,
Gene." Right.
he would, and he has a fair argument.
Right.
He does have a fair argument. Um, so Lerone, he's been fighting up. He fought Edson, Dan Ige, Josh Emmett. It's like a slow build. So, bro, return the favor.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't always get
Prove,
to like,
and prove that you were that guy.
yeah, because you're coming off 3 unanimous decisions, right? These are all main events for you. Let me see this. Uh, yeah, main event, main. Oh no, that's main card. Okay, so you got 2 main events, and you came off with 2 decisions, which is fine. But like, bro, you gotta return the favor now.
The fight before that didn't impress me. It wasn't like, oh, Silva, Patty. We talk about this like the light is so bright right now because of those finishes.
Yeah,
So bright.
so Lerone versus Gene is the fight to make, though. Let's be real, because we keep talking about the both of them. You know what I mean? You can't talk about one without talking about the other, because it's like Lerone's kind of deserving.
And let's say Silva knocks him out or submits Lerone. Like if I'm Silva, I'm like, man, I'm taking this dude down. Like I don't know, but I'm just saying. Let's just say he beats him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then what?
Title shot.
Do you think immediately after that title shot?
Title shot.
Because I would say you maybe give him Diego, maybe you give him Yair, if those guys haven't already fought whoever they're supposed to fight, or the winner of that fight.
Listen, it's like I'll put
They
it like
would want
this.
but they would want to fight Volk after that.
I'll put it like this. If he decisions Lerone and he shows he's human, okay. Slow build. You go out there and you finish Lerone, title shot.
Okay, I like that. Yeah. I like that.
All right, perfect.
It's almost like kind of what happened with Shavkat. We're like, oh, we kind of humanized you now.
Right. Let me see. So let's get into what I really want to talk about.
Okay.
It's a little bit random, but I feel like it's worth talking about. Okay. The watered down MMA media, you know, the landscape of everything right now. Let me say something broad. You know, I feel like we got everybody trying to like do everything, right? Everybody wants to be an interviewer, right? Everybody wants to be with the top fighters. Everybody wants to interview UFC fighters. Everybody's covering the same shit, right? The other thing that annoys me is everybody covers all fighters. You know what I'm saying? Like that don't deserve to be covered necessarily. You got like things, and I'm just spitballing right now, but you got things like PFL reaching out to me, you know what I mean, to some degree, asking me to do like interviews for their fighters, which is kind of fine, but what, like for me, why would I do that? Like none of your fighters are going to get me views. And again, it's just the watered down approach. Like just because you're holding a card, you got fighters on there, just do interviews. It's not like AB. It's not like, oh, fighters do an interview because of fight and like everybody's gonna watch and it's this magical potion. Like that's what I think people think it is. Like you gotta understand the art of like this game, covering things in all different aspects. You got Ariel Helwani's a real journalist, right, who does more of that breaking news, speaking behind the scenes, right? He also does what I do kind of, and you know, has a show and interviews fighters. So Ariel is kind of like the jack of all trades. Not everybody can do that.
And he's been doing it for 10 years though too. It's not like he just all of a sudden he found Ariel, you know what I mean? He's paid his dues.
Right. And so I guess my point to some degree is everybody wants to do the same stuff. Nobody's kind of separating themselves or even trying to do hard things. Like you got fighters doing interviews with people like with like 1,000 followers, 1,500. Like why the fuck are you doing that?
Mm-hmm. Why do you think? Then why? I mean, do you have an answer for that? Why do you think it is?
And I guess that's the disconnect, right, with MMA media and fighters and all stuff, and that's what I'm talking about. So why do I think it is? I don't want to drop a name right now, but I'll say this: I've had a fighter on. We didn't necessarily get along that well in the last interview. Slightly contentious, and for that reason, I don't want to have you back on. You know, I can have people on who I have good conversations with, and this one isn't, my platform isn't like a, you want to fight, have you on, like Ariel's is. It's like, you know, I like you and I'll invite you on. If we have a good conversation and we can make good content, I'll have you on. But like, I'm done with the whole, you got to win last weekend, let's talk about it and live off the hype for like your little fight that lasted, 30 minutes, and there's no historical value to it. You don't even bring anything to the table when we do the interview. You don't want to upset anybody. You're so worried about this. You're so worried about that. So I had a fighter on, and it was a little bit contentious. I think it's because he doesn't like the way I promote the game. And you're telling me how to do my job, right? Because he's also DM'ing me before saying other shit. But like, you tell me how to do my job, right?
It sounds like you got a no jumper episode on your hands. I don't know.
No, just hear me out.
You probably would go viral.
No, hear me out.
Drop that motherfucker.
I don't have one of those. All our interviews have been out, and I don't want to drop his name, but I'm just kind of speaking like the truth here. Like, I don't feel like the name matters. It's more so like this, because you're asking me why this happens. So I'm just trying to give you the whole story behind something where, like, I saw now this guy's doing interviews with somebody who's got barely any followers when you could have been in with me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think it's because he was talking shit about how I cover the sport and shit like that too. And it's like, bro, I don't tell you how to fight. You know what I mean? I don't tell you, oh, you throw the jab and do this and do that. You know what I mean? I might tell you how to promote yourself, because I'm in the art of promotion and talking and getting storylines, and that directly correlates with you getting an interview from me. If you can create stories, right? It's not all about the jab anymore when you do an interview and sell yourself as a person. So, you know, I don't really hit him up anymore. So now he does interviews with people with 1,500 followers. So maybe that's why.
Crazy Kev?
No, not Crazy Kev. I don't know. This guy's just a random nobody.
We gotta introduce him to Crazy Kev.
It popped up on my timeline. But here's the thing too. I don't interview him because I kind of realize, like, you know, he's not worth the interview. But I feel like there's a million other like people with 1,500 followers who interview him, and I think that's a problem with the sport. And I feel like, I don't know why fighters even like that or anything like that, but the shit needs to change, bro.
I mean, there's a I come from the hip hop rap world, right? So I come from what the no jumper shit I see, right? The drink champs and fucking like the Joe Buttons, like, so I see all the drama and how motherfuckers make things go viral. Charlton White, right? Charlton White goes on. You know who Charlton White is, right?
Of course.
Okay. So
I know all the content.
So yeah.
No matter what it is. I'm not just an MMA
when those guys are doing those interviews and someone just fucking blows the fuck up and gets mad, they're the ones behind the scenes on like, oh, this is perfect. Where it's crazy because I'm different. Where I'm more like, nah, dog, I don't want to put your shit out there like that. Like, I have too many morals and principles and values and shit. But I realize that you have to have a blend of both. You have to be able to, like, especially like, let's say if there was an interview like that and someone was arguing, I realize now, like, you kind of got to drop it, even if there is animosity, like, in between those, you know,
because
that's what people want to watch.
It is, for sure.
They love the drama. If it's not that, it's the sex. You know what I mean? It's either the sex or the drama and the argument. So, yeah, I understand where you're coming.
And so if you don't bring that to the table, you know what I mean? I just feel like, you know.
Yeah, I think we need to have this guy back on, and we need to fucking.
I don't want to have him back on. It makes no good conversation.
You're like me though. Like, I'm sitting now on the other side, looking at you like, no, let's create drama.
Right.
I want to post that shit.
And you know, I don't mind the whole creating drama thing, but okay, so let me throw something else out there, and I might go back on my tangent, but let me throw something out there. You know, you have done interviews, right? But I don't know what, like, this is not necessarily your main thing. Is that fair? Like, is that not your main thing, or is it?
You mean like doing interviews?
Yeah, because you like media
over my life.
No, like, okay, no, in your media space, like, what's your specialty that you bring? Because you don't do everything the same as everybody else. So, like, you are kind of an example of somebody who's trying their own thing and trying to, you know, do it.
Yeah.
So, what's your main thing that you kind of bring?
Yeah, so for us, when we first started the platform, and we interviewed nothing but rappers and like house music DJs, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would always be like the rapid fires, like the minute and a half rapid fires. Like that's how we tried to separate ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Then we would have them, especially with it here live at the station, they would spin the wheel. Free bottle of Henny, craziest sex story. That one time you said fuck it. Truth or dare, confession time.
Yeah, I seen that.
So those are that's how we separated ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
We get 5-10 minute worth of content, drinking, smoking, and shit, talking shit, and try to get those stories out of people. That through this, they kind of opened them up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So when we went to this side of the world, when it came to MMA, I was like, we can kind of still use that formula, which is unique to us, because when someone comes in here, this is going to be tailored around what West Coast radio does and our format, I guess you could say,
Mm-hmm.
our format, right? So I looked at it completely different when I first stepped in, and even still, like I don't really chase a lot of fighters down, because I feel like I did that so much with rappers and DJs, bro. I'm just now when if it happens organically, it happens organically. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and to me, that's even better. That's part of the story as we keep building everything behind the scenes when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to our YouTube channel, when it comes to Twitter, because I know the minute we get like 10,000 followers on Twitter, that's going to go to everything else. YouTube, Instagram, it will build everything up, right? And then I'll know fighters will see, okay, they got 4 or 5. I want like a year from now, we have 4 or 5 solid interviews that are like 5 to 10 minutes long. And when we start really peeking into the world, people are gonna be like, oh shit, they did his interview, they did his interview. Oh, they're only like 5 or 10 minutes long. Let me watch that.
Mm-hmm.
Get like a couple thousand on YouTube. We already know kind of how to do some of it. And so I'm just trying to stay there, work with people like yourself. You know what I mean?
Right.
That I feel like when I look at you, you remind me of myself when I first started live streaming, bro. I was live streaming on Periscope when it first came out. I was like
Okay.
almost 4 hours a day live streaming.
Mm. Okay,
Just getting,
got you.
yeah, just getting people to come in. That's how we built all the other shit around it. And then Periscope got bought by Twitter, and then
Okay,
it kind of like changed a little bit. And
got
then
you.
by then I was kind of burnt out on live streaming, and then COVID happened, and then it was like everybody went to IG live stream.
Okay, but here's more to it, right? This is
Yeah,
something too, because the reason why I even like you, and the reason why I wanted to do a podcast with you, right, is because this is what I noticed from afar. I don't know if I ever told you this, but I think it's maybe it's good for you to know this, because everybody deserves credit when they do good things.
right.
The content that you created content for yourself. You feel me? You weren't just necessarily posting shit. You're out there sharing your opinion, putting stuff out there. And it's not like it gets a million likes, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I like how you put your opinion out there. You like to speak about things and create like content like that. You know what I'm saying? So with that, I'm like, all right, let me reach out to this guy. You know what I mean? I feel like we can have good conversation.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And so there's a million other guys in the game, but they don't necessarily put themselves out there, put their
yeah,
views out there. You know why?
yeah.
Because they want to interview every fighter. And this is back
They
to
don't want
my
to nobody. They don't want to hurt nobody's
they don't
feelings.
want to hurt nobody's feelings, and how are you going to progress anything? You know what I mean? Trying to like please everybody, interview everybody, you know? And so the other thing you just
Interesting,
mentioned,
because you and I have had this conversation too about fighters. Like sometimes I feel like that too. Like, ooh, I don't want to hurt this fighter's feelings based on my opinion. But then I also look at it like you gotta do what Chael does. You kind of gotta, you know what? I've been watching what's his name more now? MMA Guru.
okay, yeah, I tap in
He
from time to time.
he brags me in because he's so like, "Argh!" And you know what I mean? Like, all right, I
Love
like
it or
that.
hate it, yeah.
Yeah, I fuck with it. You know what I mean? And so like I know more with me just personally, like I'm gonna probably let you know my opinion, and I'm probably don't have too much of an attachment to the fighters where I'm not gonna either ruffle any feathers one way or another. I'm not gonna ever disrespect a fighter. Like I may talk a lot of shit like about Kobe. Yeah, okay, maybe I would. Kobe, like, I'll say it all day. But anyway, go back to what you were saying. My bad.
Okay, so
You know what I'm trying to say.
yeah, what you just said, what was the nutshell of what you just said? Because I feel like it was part of what I was saying.
That you got to have, like, you have to form an opinion.
I
You have
got
to
you.
stand on the opinion. You got to
Got
have
you.
some type of charisma, some type of, like, passion towards what you're talking about. Because you're right, there's a lot of motherfuckers, bro. They're very monotone. Hey, Jacob.
They just want to interview everybody, and they don't want to piss anybody off. And so I think that's what needs to change in the game. You know, I think that a lot of people. Let me throw out something else, right? Let me just throw this out there because I want to point this out too. You just spoke on how you want to create a platform, right? So that you can now deliver this in some way to like the fighters and how you can cover the sport more, right? It's all a system. Obviously, that's what I've done. So me and you are very similar in that aspect. Before I even met you, that's what you've been doing. We've been doing the same shit before meeting each other. We just happen to meet each other and like each other. You feel me? So it just happens like that. But my point is that progresses things. Your interview with the homie and shit like that, right? That you've sent me in the past, that's your content. You feel me? You put a lot of effort into that. You know, that's forever content. I just want to know, like, when a guy goes and gets a job for like Homo Fight, right? And no diss to the interviewer on there, but I'm just gonna speak my mind at this point. When you go get a job at Homo Fight, you know what I mean, and you go do interviews for fighters, like I just don't understand. I feel like that's wasting everybody's time. I feel like you shouldn't be interviewing fighters. Just go make posts on the Instagram, bro. Like,
I don't even know who they are.
Yeah, I mean, they aren't really anybody to mention, but like,
see, that's how disconnected I am from this world. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so like disconnected from who is who. Like if you were to, if we were to go to the rap game, you would name probably 20 of the guys. Like, yep, I know him, I know him, I know him, I know him, I know him. And so it's so interesting to me.
Let me say this then. Let me even be more direct. Right? It takes a long time for me to maybe get this out. I feel like there should only be a few interviewers in this game. I feel like there should be like an Ariel. A Guru has earned his opportunity. You know 100%. What I mean? I think that a guy like me who's dedicated his entire platform to interviewing fighters has earned the opportunity. You know, but if you are not that type of thing, I think like a guy like you know, the guys like, you know, Michael Bisping can do interviews.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But if you are just like
Brendan Schaub,
Brendan Schaub. But if you don't have like a platform and shit, and you're just out here trying to work in the space and like get a job, bro, like I don't know, man. I'm just like, I just feel like it's clouding so much shit up.
I mean, but that's the double-edged sword, right?
It's a double-edged sword.
Well, that's a double-edged sword with everybody having these. Everybody wants to be a content social media creator. I don't give a fuck what world it is, bro. MMA, rap, fucking fashion, food vloggers, you know, hood vloggers. Bro, we could probably name 100 industry, a movie, fucking, you know, kids. Like, there's so many things,
and there's no barrier to entry.
There isn't. All you need is a phone. Create a social media platform, get something that gets buzzing, and get to, you know, start building it. So I mean, it is what it is.
Let me say this one. You know the homie.
I see where you're coming from.
Let me say this one because I got so much on this topic right now, and you know the homie, right? Who we met at the Bellator event. His name was Dylan. You know Dylan?
I don't remember all of them. We met a handful of guys, so.
Okay, so Dylan was the white kid, a little bit skinnier, a little bit younger.
Okay. I can vision it, but I can't vision it.
Fair enough.
Okay.
He's a journalist.
Okay.
Right? But now he's Henry Cejudo's like producer.
Okay.
Which is fine. You could be Henry's producer, like that's fine. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I'm not trying to really discredit too much. But my thing is like, what if I sold out, right, to be like Joaquin Buckley's like film guy?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're just riding his wave, but like you never did anything for the sport. Like again, like these guys are just trying to make money and like, and I get the money thing, but you're like, how can you be a journalist, right? And this guy was doing interviews before. Now he doesn't do interviews anymore. This is kind of my point to some degree. Like, so you did interviews, now you don't do them anymore. So you wasted everybody's time that you were doing interviews with because your platform is dead. You like you do shit with Henry Cejudo now. You know what I'm saying? You're like his producer. So are you a journalist? Do you go cover events? Are you somebody's producer? Like, what are you? And I hate, like, I hope he doesn't see this because I would probably ruin his fucking day saying this. But, like, the truth is the truth. And, like, so when everybody's trying to do this shit and just hop on waves, like, because obviously he's thinking probably, like, you know, Henry Cejudo's the former champ and, like, it's a big opportunity for my career. I got to go do this. You know what I mean? But, like,
look, I see it every day in a different industry. every day, bro. Where a rapper became a producer. The rapper became a fucking a videographer because he met so and so. Now they're all on tour. I was like, well, weren't you just rapping? Now you're the videographer for them and you're going on tour with them. I mean, whatever. Do you, dog? You know what I mean? Do you, homie? You know. And so in LA, bro, like, I was a model, but now I'm a writer. You know, it's getting almost where you can fit in this world, and some people are just trying to get in.
as quick as possible.
And that too, kind of a lot of Crazy Kev's a good example, bro. Like when I first saw what the fuck Crazy Kev was doing, I was like, all right, I give you kudos where kudos are done. But when you want to go and backstab people, you want to do shit the wrong way, that's where I will start having a problem. If people want to go and like, they still haven't found their way, or they are, let's just say they're struggling, bro. Let's say they don't got $1 and something, an opportunity came to them, and it's like they couldn't turn it down.
But I don't got $1. So
And
I don't feel sympathy.
I understand, I respect that. I completely understand where you're coming from. You know what I mean? I completely understand. But some people,
because you go get your $1, right? You go get your $1, and that's what I do too. I go get my $1. I don't got $1, but I go get it.
let's say, okay, here's the question. Let's say No Jumper came to me and said, "Hey, we love your platform. We're gonna give you 100,000 to come be the co-host with Adam 69." I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it'd be tough for me to accept something like that too, and I don't even got $1 to my name right now.
And so my morals and principles a little bit like up here, where 99% of the people, bro, would go do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like, I'm cut like a cloth, almost like yours. You know what I mean? Like I can't. There's certain things I don't give a. I don't care. Nope, can't do it. I don't give a fuck. Nope.
And so I say this because, to some degree, we're like, I feel like sometimes we're out here like batting down all this shit, and then like 6 months down the line, the guy who's throwing up smoke screens for you, you're batting that shit down. He's not even in competition with you anymore. And I guess that's fine, but it's like, dude, you're wasting people's time. Like I was even having to compete with you a little. Not that anybody I'm speaking about now I've had to compete with, but like, when you start something up and then you quit, it's like.
Think about this too. Here in San Diego, bro, we did the San Diego Podcast Expo like a year before COVID. So that's what's 5 years ago almost. We had 20 podcasters there, bro. Only 2 people are still podcasting out of all the people that we had there. Yeah. Under West Coast Radio. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. I always remind myself of that as well. You know what I mean? I still look at the guys that are still up and running here in San Diego. I still look at the fact that we still have this little studio and shit. Like, because you'll see people just fall off like, oh, hey, what are you doing now? Like, oh, now I do this or now I do this. All right, more power to you. You know what I mean? Do what you got to do, you know? But you got to have passion for it to want to have that long game. And Nipsey said it best. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You know what I mean? So like, I completely understand.
Yeah, so I'll say this too. When you're always chasing the money and the biggest paying opportunity, I don't think necessarily anybody wins but yourself. You might get a little bit of money, but like, some of the true wins come in the part where, you're working hard to get it. You're working hard to figure something out that maybe you didn't know. Like maybe somebody wants to break news like Ariel and learn how to do that, right? I'm saying I don't know how to do that, but I'm not trying to be a jack of all trades. My main thing is interviewing and having the platform to do it, right? Yeah. Somebody else wants to learn, and I've dedicated everything to learning how to do that. You feel me? Someone else wants to learn how to be an Ariel. You should go ahead and learn how to do that and break news or something like that. Learn how the fights go behind the scenes. Figure it out, and don't give up on that dream as soon as somebody else comes and offers you a bigger payday over here.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I just think that who's a good journalist in this game? There's no good young journalist coming up, right? There's not very many people that are doing like, what I'm doing or like what Ariel was doing when he started. So who's like, when Ariel's gone and everything else, aside from like, and I'm not even saying I've made it. I'm not even saying I made it. But like, you got a guru who came up. You got like a me who's like a way lower level. You know what I mean? But I know how to like leverage my platform. So, but these kids who go and get a job at Home of Fight and this kind of thing, man, like you got the game mixed up. Like Home of Fight is like an Instagram page. You know what I'm saying? Mm. But they're not some interviewing platform. And like, if you think you could just hire, this is the other thing. If you think you could just have the platform and hire people to do interviews with people, Never gonna work, bro. Never gonna work. So I guess they could just keep doing that. But
And I think too, there's certain people that they. Okay, so how much do you really love fucking MMA? You know what I mean? Like, B, can you really? Because there's a lot of people that love MMA, bro, but they can't really interview people, dog. Like they
that's what I'm
just
saying.
they're just bland and monotone. However, they could maybe do A, B, and C. They could do maybe that good, right? And I think kind of like what I like with you is like you're trying to build your brand, your platform, your network, and creating, like you even said too, like if I can get two guys that I can kind of show how to do this, that I would, that you're building a small team.
Mm.
This weekend, for example, we have a huge event here at Chicano Park. And in my mind, I'm like, I got three people going to stop by afterwards. Like, okay, I need that one of them to do this. I need one of them to do this. Need one of them to do this for us.
Mm.
So I'm not like this running wild. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it goes back to building a team to have that mindset. And if they're like, let's say whoever this is, Homo Fight, they're trying to get someone to do an interview. Like, is that person even do interviews good though? Or did they grab him just because they thought they had a social media platform? And
They
because
grabbed him because he doesn't even have a social media platform. They grabbed him because he goes to the fights and gets a credential, like we did for Bellator.
Gotcha.
And then, so since he's asked a few questions to fighters in the past and he's tried to do some interviews in the past, they're like, yeah, like let's have him on here to do interviews with fighters.
Mm-hmm. Well, it goes back to what you originally said. Like you personally, you're trying to do something different to set yourself apart from all these like squares.
That are just, I feel like so many people just check the box. That's my thing. Like I'll go back to what I said earlier. It's not just like interview and like it works. Like interviews don't just work. Like it's a fucking magic to it.
Yeah, that's only one piece of all of this.
Like interviewing is just like fucking taking a shit in the morning. You know what I mean? Like you got a lot more to do throughout the day. Like just because you sit down and you look to somebody and you said words to them and they said words back to you does not guarantee you clicks and views and attention. Even if you have an Instagram with like 100,000 followers, because that's what Homo Fight has and they don't get any views.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing, right? It's like you do interviews, right? But who do you put on? Because for me, right, and I can only speak from my perspective of things, but I think you saw it already. Max Holloway's little cousin, he's about to have his 8th boxing match, right, this Thursday. I've been putting him on since 2022, 2023. You know what I mean? When he had like 4 fights. Where's that? You know what I mean? Where's people like, you really love the sport? You want to do interviews? Then why the fuck you just interview who won last weekend? You don't got nobody of interest that you want to interview. That's part of my thing too. Like I put on some kid who went and did a street fight in Paris, some no rules street fight shit. 16-year-old lied to fight an 18-year-old. Where the fuck are you guys doing that? And I'm not even trying to suck my own dick, but that's the fucking truth. You guys want to interview people and think you could do it, but you don't even care about stories. You just think like, oh, I'm gonna interview you because I just walked by you, right? And I saw you and I'm in Las Vegas. Hey, you want to stop for an interview? No, because it's a waste of my fucking time if I was a fighter. Absolutely not, because you just made eye contact with me. Now we got to do an interview. Who the fuck are you? What do you bring to the table? What kind of content have you made? You know? Who else have you put on? Or are you just trying to get me for my name? Right? If you're a fighter. So that's my thing. You like doing interviews. You want to create a platform. You want to do this. You want to do that. And you want to be everything that everybody else is. Then like show me that. Quit being so like mediocre and amateur with shit. You know? Quit having on like, I know this kid, right? Shout out to
I got something for you. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Every time you start cooking moving forward on the show, I'm going to bring the bell. I'm going to let you go off because you're going to know to clip this motherfucker. And we're going to bring the siren.
All right.
Keep going.
All right.
So, you were cooking.
I was cooking there, huh? I was cooking.
Ooh, clip that motherfucker, bro.
I think I might have to.
All kinds of. And so I think moving forward, when you guys see the show and you see the clip, I'm going to have this by me now moving forward, bro.
Shit, I think I might have to. That one went crazy.
Yeah, okay. And I'm not gonna even say anything. I'm just gonna be like,
yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. Now I want to give advice too, because I actually fuck with this guy, but I did see what he was up to this weekend, and maybe, I was thinking to myself, like, am I jealous? I was trying to weigh it all out in my head, and maybe he's doing the right thing, but I feel like I got to give him some constructive criticism here. Okay. Shout out to Mike Owens. Okay, I fuck with you. For the record, I fuck with you. and I saw that he did a lot of interviews this week, and I was actually proud of him, right? I'm like, that's pretty dope. You know, he's got a good personality to go and ask these fighters for things. But a few things I noticed. So I'm going to critique it, and right, this is actually, if you change it up, I think that your platform will be better. So I'm not coming at him with hate because I like him. Okay. All of them are like 13-minute interviews.
Okay.
Now, like, how can you create? I mean, like, what kind of content are we creating here? Like 13-minute interviews? Like, this run and gun approach is only getting you 13-minute interviews because these guys don't even have time. You know? Mm-hmm. So, like, you got to go for, like, more in-depth shit, dude. Like, you can't just be doing 13-minute interviews. And then I was watching the content, and then it's like, first off, he asked Vicente Luque for an interview. I've interviewed Vicente in the past. Do I hit him up anymore? No. There's a reason for that. Well, first off, I used to hit him up when he was still relevant, kind of, and he wouldn't, like, respond because, like, I'm homies with Buckley. Long story short, he interviewed Vicente, who I don't believe deserves an interview. And he's asking Vicente, like, so who do you want to fight next and this and that? And I'm watching it thinking, Vicente doesn't want to call anybody out. He's not that guy. So what do you know, these guys sometimes when they do these interviews, you're just asking, like, who do you want to fight next? These fighters are tired of being asked that.
Yeah.
Sick and tired of it, bro.
Yeah.
So, like, you got to figure out a better way than just, like, asking who you want to fight and, like, because you ran into him, you did an interview, and now it's like, who do you want to fight next? That's why these fighters don't want to do interviews, you know? And if you don't have something good to ask, then just don't bother him. You feel me? You're not getting reposts off his shit because I see this guy might clipping up the interviews, but none of the fighters are collaborating on it. And it's because I think it's not that same connection. You're doing these interviews, and I think they know that they mean nothing too. And so, like I said, he did it with, like, Vicente. I think it's a waste of time. I went and looked on the channel. I think it did like 100 or 200 views, you know? So guaranteed a waste of your time. You know what I mean? And you just spent money to go out to Vegas and all that shit. And you just spent, and you know, hotels and all this stuff. Why do you think I do a lot of the interviews for, like, see, I run a business. I'm like, this is a difference between me and everybody else. It's gotta, if it makes money, it has to make sense. You know, so I can't pay for a ticket, fly to Vegas, do this little content, right? And it not pay off. You know what I mean? So right now, what pays off the most is sitting right here in my fucking room, interviewing fighters, making all this content, right? And making money that way because that's the lowest overhead cost. So that I put all this into play. So I see somebody goes out to Vegas, pays for a plane ticket, pays for a hotel, and then does all these interviews and barely makes any money off of it. And that's why I'm, like, trying to give him some criticism right now. But, you know, you got to stop being so average with this shit, bro. You got to, like, you know what I mean? Fuck the UFC fighters. Interview people you like and shit. Long format interviews. This whole run and gun. I'm going to show up to this is the thing. I'm going to show up to Vegas. It's an event. I'm going to run into so many fighters and do all these interviews. I think it's so disingenuous. I just think that, like, this isn't fucking Coachella, bro.
Have you been to Coachella?
No, but that's what they do or, like, you know, Hard Summer and shit. Mm-hmm. And even if it was, you don't got the platform.
I went to pool party on Sunday.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
So I got one other thing for this.
Okay.
The other thing that got me on this tangent. This is actually part of what got me on this tangent. That one kid at that press conference, right? You saw that one kid at that press conference who asked Dana White for an opportunity?
Oh, yeah. I did see that.
Bro, it's ruining the sport. I hope Dana didn't give him a job.
Allowing it, though, but
I hope Dana didn't give him a job. And fighters like Kayla Harrison, yeah, give him a job. Because, Kayla, you don't, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this shit's so, like, suck up to the people who, this is the world, in my opinion, how I see it. Suck up to people who are less than you, right? Kiss people who are less than you's ass because your ego can handle it. But the people, like, you know, who can stand up right next to you eye to eye, you don't want to put them over. See, because I think for me, you asked this, right, too. Like, why do fighters do these interviews with the 1,000 follower platforms? Because, like, it suits their ego more. Like, you do an interview with me and it's like good shit. It's the real deal. But, like, we're also two men talking, you know, eye to eye. You don't get that thing where, like, you're this guy and I'm this little fucking piece of shit. You don't get that when you interview with me. So in my opinion, sometimes that's when you go ahead and you do these interviews with people with 1,500 followers because, you know what I'm saying? So everybody in the world, Kayla Harrison saying that kid who called for an opportunity, oh, get him the job. Why are you kissing his fucking ass? Because he's 16? I don't give a fuck. Give it to somebody who earned it, who worked for it. You know what I mean? And you give that kid that opportunity, he's not going to do shit with it. Do you know how hard that I have to work for this shit? To generate attention? To generate views? Over and over and over again? It's not just one fucking Buckley interview. It's not just one this or one that. Oh, get one interview with 5,000 views. It's not that. It's fucking a daily, endless grind. Go watch the Schmo. See how much work that he puts in. The Schmo's an example of an independent person. He goes out to all these events, does interviews, not a million people, selective people. Constantly does interviews with the same people who create good content. You know what I'm saying? Look at what the Schmo does. We're pretty similar. You know, he gets
and he has his own. And he has his own unique style.
So, you know, it's not just go, oh, Dana, give me a job so I can interview fighters and people are tired of getting asked the same questions. Kid, you're going to ask the same stupid ass fucking questions. I already know it. You know? Yeah. So
he's a content creator, right? He was like a Twitch guy or something.
All this kid thinks is he can buy a plane ticket to a UFC event, attend a press conference, and get a job by asking for it in front of everybody. That's the fucking barrier to entry.
Didn't he have like 1 million followers on Twitter?
No, he doesn't. I looked at his Instagram. He's got like 100 followers.
100?
He's got like 100. 200. He generates no attention.
I thought he was like a Twitch
He's nobody. He's nobody, bro. And I looked at his thing and he's like, he basically, same thing. He's standing in the airport. A famous person walks by. Hey, can I ask you a question? What's your motivation to the youth? Bro, get a fuck. This is why you shouldn't be doing interviews. You don't know what to say. You got nothing to say. You got no life experience.
Oof.
Nothing. So this shit's getting watered down. Stop sucking people's dick who are less than you because you got a big old ego and you don't like somebody who's equal to you. You know what I'm saying? So that's all. That's, you know, that's my thing. Stop avoiding controversy. You know what I'm saying? Some fighters, I'll say this one.
I'm ready.
I can't say a name. I'm not going to say a name.
I'm ready.
I had a fighter tell me that he doesn't like a reel that I made. Okay. And then it's the most viral reel that I made.
And that's why that's why you're doing it.
So like, don't call, like, and this is the thing. It's like, don't hit me up, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then just to kind of like show him, I was like, okay, fine. Like since you don't agree with me and my fucking style, telling me how to do my job, right? You're telling me how to do my fucking job. I didn't tell you how to fight. But anyway, since you're telling me how to do my job and you got a better fucking suggestion, let's play out that suggestion. Cause this ain't no fucking, like, we don't just do words. You know what I mean? Let's show it. Let's see what happens then. So let's promote what you think should be promoted from the interview. No views. Less than 100 likes. Waste of my fucking hour editing that shit. But you wanted that, right? Because you know what I'm saying? So like, bro, don't be coming at me. And also, bro, you said that shit. You said it. So I clipped off something that you said. You know, at the end of the day, it already got clipped before I clipped it. So like, it's already out there, bro. You can't tell. This is the thing too. I want to say this. I got a lot of thoughts on this. The whole thing with fighters, because this is an old thing, but I think it's done with now. The whole thing with fighters and calling media clickbait, done, over. And this is the reason why. At this point, when I do an interview with a fighter, it is free game for the entire MMA community to clip it up, repost it, and put whatever tag they want to put on it. So with that being said, I'm in that game too. You know what I'm saying? I got to put shit out there too. And it's my fucking content. You feel me? So if another fucking kid is going to go ahead and clip off my content, right, and use the edgy fucking shit anyway, then why shouldn't I do it?
Yeah.
A kid already did it, and on top of that, he stole my content, he stole my money, right? So of course that's gonna happen, and for you to be like, but here's the difference, right? Here's my point in saying it too. So what? Because you don't know that kid, it's not a big deal and it's nothing personal, but because you know me, like, it's a big deal. Like, what's the difference?
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference? I think it's a difference in your mentality. When you see what I do, and because I know you, and then you see another kid who clips it off the same fucking way, it's kind of like, bro, if it's innocent when that kid does it because you don't know him, then it shouldn't affect you any other way when I do it, just because we have a relationship. Yeah, especially when I'm not putting you out there in a bad light. Like, if you were to like be doing some crazy shit and I'm putting you out there in a bad light, that's a different story. But when it's just like the spicy comments, it's like this. Do you want the promo pack mild, medium, or hot? Yeah. You feel me? Yeah. And when I go promo pack with the hot, but I'm not making you disrespect anybody, like, come on, bro. Don't be coming at me.
Well, it's interesting too, because like I've had plenty of times too where, like, believe me, I've had people tell me like, no, can you not drop that? And I was like, that's why we're doing it. Like, that was a good example. Hot, mild, you know, like you want that.
Because if you choose the mild option before the interview, if I say, yo, you want the mild, medium, or hot promo pack after this interview, and you say mild, I'm gonna be like, all right, never mind, cancel the interview. I don't want to fucking do it.
And let's look at, I mean, this is like the ultimate like example, like the Hawk Tua girl. She doesn't say that. There is no Hawk Tua girl. There is the other guy. I mean, it is what it is. That is the game. You know what I mean? So like, not.
We got another freeze. All right. So
I was gonna say I got like hopefully, see if I'm freezing. So
what do you got?
Yeah.
You're like frozen. Where are you at?
I see that. Can you hear me though?
I can hear you. Where are you at? Okay, so while MTK is trying to reevaluate, let me say more about this topic, right?
My shit did freeze though again.
Okay, you're back. You're back.
Oh, there we go. I was gonna say I got 10 minutes.
Okay, 10 minutes. Let me say this. Let me say another thing. This is a big old topic for the day.
I think we're gonna have to record it. I think we're gonna have to record another one for UFC Kansas City. I'm free this Friday.
Okay, we'll have to do it. We're not gonna get into Kansas City. Let me say this. I had this idea written down.
Yeah.
As a fighter, right? Something that they need to consider. MMA media can either get views speaking to you or speaking about you, right? And I'll put it bluntly, the fighters who aren't worth doing interviews because they don't want to upset anybody and all wants to be the mild promo pack, fine. I'd rather just talk about you than and get twice the views. Say whatever I want. Uncut, unfiltered. Put my face on it. I don't care. Mm-hmm. So really, like, understand that, guys. Like, you could be two things as a fighter. You could be somebody that the media wants to get interviews with because they can get views through you. Or if they can't get views through you, just understand that you're leaving yourself open to that option where now they can get views off you by speaking about you, you know? So just keep that in mind. When you talk about wanting to save face and save everybody's feelings, like you're not a guy people want to talk to. And in fact, people can get more views talking about you, criticizing you, and making up their own narratives because you bring nothing to the table. You have the ability to create your own narrative, your own story by being intriguing, by being interesting, by speaking your truth. You don't got to be fake. But you just see, this is the thing too. What are you doing? See, this is what clicked with me. Why I stopped protecting fighters and saving them from bad words and shit like that. Because you probably won't do an interview with me anyway. The same fighter that I'm worried about hurting their feelings, they probably wouldn't even do an interview with me if I didn't say anything bad about them.
Yeah.
I could not say as much negative stuff as I want about Israel Adesanya, right? I could save it all I want and keep my integrity to the highest degree. Never say a bad word about him. He still won't do an interview with me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because he's one of the top dogs in the game. He's probably going to stick with Ariel and all that shit. So, like, why would I, with that being said, right? Why am I going to sit there and be like, oh my God, I don't want to protect Izzy's feelings and, like, hurt his feelings. I'm going to say whatever the fuck I want. Good or bad.
Yeah.
But, like.
There's something to be said. Like, we'll use Guru as another example. Like, he's probably at a point now because of all his antics and he's going to tell you, like you said earlier, love or hate him. Mm-hmm. People are going to interview with him because he's built his channel so big. Once you build it to that level, people are going to come do an interview with you.
Right. For sure. And so I think this is one of the last things I'll say about it. Guru was a great example. I want to say this too, though. As fighters, this is just, I kind of touched on this earlier, but let me say this, right? I wrote this down. I said, if you think media is just something to get done on fight week rather than an opportunity to take your career to the next level, you are sadly mistaken. So you're not just there to answer questions, you know what I mean, and be sentimental. You feel me? This ain't the fucking sport, man. And I'm a sentimental guy, you know. I'm an emotional guy. I'm a nice guy. A lot nicer than maybe I come off in this, but this is where it's like professionalism and like nice doesn't matter. Like the truth matters, you know. And that's what progressive stuff is, the truth, not protecting people's feelings. So with that being said, you know, when you go and do these interviews, this is an opportunity to propel your career to the next level. It's like a lottery ticket. It's like the ability to 10x, 3x your career off of what it could have been off a win with no interview. That's what an interview is, right? And so when you come into these interviews, you should make the most of it, you know. And it's not all about sentimental, like I'm so like thankful for this opportunity, you know, and I'm just, you know, happy to be here. You know, it's the main thing. I'm just happy to be here. But like, okay, bro, now that didn't capitalize anything and still no intrigue in the fight. So just understand, guys. And this is why it's hard. Like, don't be upset when nobody reaches out to you. Don't sit back and be like, everybody's a clout chaser and they don't want to talk to me because I'm real. No, dude, you're boring. You know?
Right.
So that's my thing, man. That's my thing.
That's my thing.
That's my thing.
What was I gonna say is I was looking at one of the topic you had. Where are we at with BJ, bro?
Oh shit, that was the title. Good thing you brought that up. So
Like,
if you ask me, BJ looks like tired, man. Looks tired as hell.
Has anybody looked? I mean, cops, anything?
No update.
Wow.
But he's hanging out with like the owner of Ruka, which is like a clothing company.
Okay. I mean,
he's around people that seem like Jon Jones even.
you would think someone would be like, "Hey, let's go check up on your mom. Let me go with you."
Yeah. I wonder if they ask him the question when they run into him, like, "Yo, what's up with those posts?"
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. What about this? ESPN deal is up. What does that mean exactly? The ESPN deal.
So I'll tell you everything I know.
ESPN going to be Kansas City this 2 weeks?
It is. Their deal ends at the end of this year.
Oh, okay.
But the negotiation to re-sign just ended like on Monday.
Well, now they can shop it.
Now they can get new offers so that beginning when the deal ends, they can have something in place the next day.
Okay. So
it's like now they're shopping.
We could wake up tomorrow and be like, "Oh, we signed a deal with Netflix. Starting 2026, all of our ESPN fights will be there. Or all of our UFC fight nights will be there."
Yeah, I think ESPN will keep the library that they had.
Right.
But
makes sense.
What it's seeming like, very surprising. Dana said that he's okay. Actually, I had a point here. So Dana said that he didn't say no to no pay-per-view. I don't know if you're familiar with this topic, but Netflix, if the UFC signs with Netflix, they're not going to do a pay-per-view, right? Because Netflix is subscription based and they don't believe in pay-per-view model. They're not even set up for that. So like by signing with the UFC, they're not going to like do this whole 360. With that being said, Dana said, you know, I could be open to signing with Netflix despite them not doing pay-per-views. A lot of people before him saying that have been like, the UFC will never go away from the pay-per-view model. In other words, they will never sign with Netflix.
Okay.
I personally think they will never go away from the pay-per-view model. Personally, I don't believe they will ever go away from the pay-per-view model. I think Dana was just saying that to still
the negotiating tactic.
Well, yeah, I guess so. But also, what's he gonna do? Shut a door? He just got into the negotiating window. Like he's not gonna shut a door. So he's just getting that call. Like he's getting their offer still, but 99% he's gonna deny it. What people are saying is that it's gonna be something like, you got Netflix, right? Mm-hmm. So you know how Netflix has WWE Monday Night Raws now live? Mm-hmm. They've been doing that. They do live stuff. So I think what's going to happen, if you ask for my prediction, I think UFC will sign an exclusive thing with Netflix as far as like, you know, events on here every Saturday, live. And then the pay-per-views will be probably still streamed on ESPN.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they need a pay-per-view provider. Netflix isn't a pay-per-view provider.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they go away from pay-per-view as well.
No. But the interesting thing in it is that they are going to have 2 broadcast partners. That's the biggest thing that I didn't say or said without saying it.
What about the GFL canceled? What was your
my take on that?
Yeah.
So I thought the biggest
seriously in to begin with.
I didn't, but man, it speaks to these fighters, man. I don't know what goes on with these guys. I would love to know. But like,
well, a lot of them, this is like, I don't know.
It just seems like they got no clue the game that they're in.
What's interesting to me, because it's almost like when I look at these other organizations, I don't put a lot of attention to it because I'm like, nothing's better than UFC, so I don't even, why would I care about it? Like, that's where I'm at. Like, I don't care less if fucking whoever the PFL, GFL, I don't name another organization, Rinzen, Karate One, whatever the fuck they are, bro. Like they are not. It's not the same products.
Mm-hmm.
I want the top level guys.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Um, I thought it was interesting because the biggest thing was like, how are they going to pay it out, right? How are they going to pay the fighters? And I had asked Lorenz Larkin, you know, what made you sign? He's like, because they have the money. And I was like, well, how do you know? And he's like, they showed me a proof of funds. So like, I don't know. It's crazy because these fighters ask for things, right? For proof. They get the proof. It's supposed to be like solidified now. And then 2 weeks out from the event, canceled.
Yeah.
So it speaks to a big problem in the sport.
Think about this. Think about this. There's the NFL. Who's after the NFL?
Nothing.
There are some, right? You got the Arena League,
College football.
College football is number 2 for sure.
Mm.
But you got Arena Leagues. You got the Canadian League. You have another league. I don't even know the name of it. So there's there's the NFL.
Yeah.
All these guys are trying to get there. None of these guys in these other leagues are getting not even near what the NFL players are getting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So UFC is almost the same thing. Like there's nothing you're getting all the washed up guys. You're getting all the guys that trying to even scratch the surface, get into. Look what happened to Patricio Pitbull this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who does he fight next? Give him fucking LaRon.
Yeah.
Like that dude, like, I don't know, bro. That to me spoke volumes, bro. Like this is the reason why the UFC is the UFC.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say.
Point.
Here's what I'll say. We can end on this if we're out of time. I will say.
I got 5 minutes.
I will say.
They just said.
What'd they say?
No, they're on their way. So.
Okay. I will say that. What were we just talking about?
The GFL.
I will say that the GFL speaks to a greater problem. This is simply put, right? Simply put. These guys don't want to be fighting. All those guys who signed to the GFL who are in their 40s don't want to be fighting. And I believe they sign because they don't have any money. Oh, we got the homie on the phone right now.
My bad, bro.
You're good. Did you hear me or no?
Yeah, but say it one more time.
I think it speaks to a bigger problem of the fighters basically being broke. Not having money.
100%.
Anytime I see a fighter going to like some bullshit organization, I'm like, he's broke.
Yeah. It's because you're washed up, broke. The UFC doesn't want you anymore, or you're fucking trying to prove yourself to get to, okay, let me win here, and maybe I could be the best here, and maybe someone like the UFC will find me.
Yeah.
Maybe I can get in a Dana White Contender Series.
I'm gonna ask you this one. Can I ask you this one?
Yeah.
Because it speaks to this. There's a guy named, and you probably don't know him. There's a Hawaiian fighter. His name's Kai Kamaka. Right? He just was in the UFC for a few fights. He got cut off his first contract. So maybe 4 fights he got cut. Barely made any money, right? Went to the PFL, fought a few fights, left. Right? Then, recently, he signed with the GFL. The GFL just went under, and he announced he's fighting in some really low-level promotion now next week. This man is married, has like 3 to 4 kids.
Yeah.
I mean, why do these guys continue to fight? If it was me, I'm getting a job.
Yeah, so, I mean, at that point, you kind of have to, right?
Like, I think it's selfish to put your family through all that.
Oh, I mean, that's a hard conversation. It really is, because it's like you don't want to kill someone's hopes and dreams. But when you've been through all of that, you got to have a backup.
But you can't be stupid.
Yeah.
Because
I agree.
There's fighters who are teachers, and you know what I mean? They fight. So that's my thing is like, I don't know. MMA's in a weird space all around. You got fighters chasing dreams that should have quit a long time ago and got a regular job. And I don't care if I'm a hater for saying that.
Just, I like this lighting the best right here.
That looks good. That looks good.
So Friday, you want to do Kansas City?
I might be able to, but it's got to be a little bit later.
Okay. Let me know then.
Okay. Just because
I agree with you. Let's get the content out before.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
maybe you could join me on my pod and not for the audio.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm thinking maybe Friday or like a Sunday if you're free.
Sunday could work too.
Okay. Let me
I
see
might
my
be.
schedule and I'll get back to you on that.
All right.
All right, bro. That was a hot podcast. Shout out to everybody who I had to,
Oh, you
speak
killed
the
it on the
truth with.
live stream too on Saturday.
Yeah, killed it, right?
Yeah, I forgot to say that.
Thanks. I got some new subscribers, so I think
Yeah.
that's gonna be a norm, and that got them familiar with me a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, bro, I gotta keep this going, and I think eventually we'll get more of an audience in here.
Mhm.
So
But that's smart, bro, because that will build what you're trying to build here. All of those pieces, I'm telling you, it reminds me when I did Periscope, bro. I was so heavy on Periscope, dog. Like it would because like I'd be on there, 1,000 people were in there, like shit, I can't leave.
exactly.
You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
You can't go. And then you just like start bullshitting with everybody. You know what I mean? Like, oh, hey, someone dropped this content, someone dropped this content, someone dropped this content. Then I
Facts. I
started
had some people in there too, so that was chill.
So like you start building your community even deeper. So yeah, more power to you on that. I love that.
Appreciate it, bro. Last thing I'm gonna say though, I think it ties it all in, right?
Okay.
Because since I talk all this shit, let me give the free game too. I be doing interviews, but then I do the live stream. I got the podcast. You know what I mean? I got my platform. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. These guys, man, they just think you can interview and like it's all good. Like, there's so much more to this game than what you're doing. You know what I mean? And like, you're watering it all down by kind of being average, by being mediocre. You know what I mean? We should all try to do something great or harder in this sport. You know what I mean? Do what we can't really do. You feel me? So that's what I try to do, trying to progress the sport, doing all these things. So if you're somebody who wants to be an interviewer, let me say this. The biggest thing I could say is grow your name too.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not all about interviewing fighters. I promise you that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
that's just one piece. That's just one piece.
it's one piece, man. And also
100%.
get some life experience. And nobody below like 25 should really be doing interviews. Unless your content is like kid shit. Yeah.
I'd say 21, but
I was young and I said that about myself. That's what I'm saying. When I was like 22, 23, in my mind, I was like, you know what? Nobody's going to listen to me talking right now. They're just not.
I see where you're coming from.
You know?
Yeah.
So, all right, bro.